Oh, Swansea City should be in those darn playoffs already. Another chance missed. Here we go again. We're reviewing the away game at Luton. We're talking about Bianchini set pieces and who've been the best fans to visit the Swansea.com stadium this season. We've got Richard, James, and Hugh back with us. How are we, fellas? Windy trip to Luton. All survived? All dried out, James?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't one of the ones who made the trip, unfortunately. But yeah, I can't imagine it was a pleasant journey, at least for some, as we saw with some taxi journeys being floated about on Twitter. But
yeah, let's have a look at that, because I want to shout out Leo Jones, if you're watching, and the whole team there. 900 quid, I think it was, from a taxi from Swansea to Luton. And he cheekily tweeted for Swansea to pay it. And amazingly, Jason Cohen is actually going to cover it. I mean, Rich, that's a nice way to get yourselves in the good books of the fans. Quick, nice and easy, isn't it?
Yeah, good start. I could see Luke was a bit shocked when he heard about that after the game in his conference, and Sophie asked him about it. It's incredible how committed some of those fans are coming to the game, and fair play. They had a good day out and been rewarded for it afterwards.
Absolutely top quality. We've got James back with us as well. Can you hear us okay, James?
Yeah, I've got you now.
Brilliant. Okay, let's talk about the Luton game. First of all, Bianchini, James, people are saying you're much better in the second half. Bianchini looked more lively this time every time he comes on, but he can't finish for Toffee. Was that a penalty at the end? A couple of questions in there for you. Was Bianchini better as a substitute than he is a starter for you, James?
I don't think we've really seen enough of him to know if he'll be a good starter for us. I feel like he's brought on. He's the only real one who can come off the bench and make an impact at the moment. I perhaps would like to see him maybe start that wide. He's a bit more direct, got a bit more pace. At the end, I don't think that was a penalty at all. Even probably the most optimistic Swansea fans will probably tell you it's probably not a penalty.
We spoke to our Luton Town fans earlier, Hugh. They were not happy with their performance at all and said Swansea should have won that by 3 or 4, and if only you had a striker, you'd have comfortably won that. Do you agree with their assessment of that game?
Yeah, bang on. And I think you could say the same about a few other games this year as well. Seems to be lack of sort of killer instinct at the top end of the pitch. It's killing us off at the moment. I think defensively we were sound for a long time, although that seems to have sort of got a little bit worse lately. But yeah, scoring goals is not a problem, right?
Absolutely. And there's that tweet there from Tjoe-A, the Luton Town fan. If Swansea had any quality in the final third, they win that by 2 or 3. Rich Mark says there's a good team in there. Happy about the chances we are creating, but we should have won by at least 2 comfortably. Top 10 beckons, but we need to be more ruthless. Well done, fans and players. Rich, I want to challenge that a little bit. I don't think top 10 is good enough for this as a target for this Swansea side. Every time I watch you play, I've been nothing but impressed. I know you watch them every single game, but surely top 6 is up for grabs, isn't it, this season?
Well, I think it's a lot more encouraging than we thought probably about 6 weeks ago when we were looking at it, talking about no goals and where things are going this season. But the teams around us, there's no one that you can really be frightened of this year. And like last year where we were getting stuffed at Southampton, Leeds and Ipswich. And, you thought unless those 4 clear sides this year, we've played all the top sides now. No, I don't see why we can't go on a run. But thing is, for a team to go on a run, you need to be winning games every week, taking some chances. And we're not doing that at the moment. We're taking the point here and there. But it's improvement on what we thought we would be, like I said, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. We're recording this before the Plymouth game. Jimmy, Wayne Rooney was due to play Oxford this Saturday, but that got cancelled. So now the pressure is on him against you boys. You could end his career. And literally, you could end his career this week.
I mean, there's worse people to end careers, I suppose. So I wouldn't be too angry if that was the case by the end of Tuesday night. But it's not really ideal for us, I think, because, we're playing Luton on Saturday, job on the line. They're obviously going to turn up more than they probably normally do, and they did probably. I can't imagine how bad they've been recently, but they obviously were better than they had been. I saw some saying they still weren't good, but they've been better. Plymouth, I've seen a few people sort of be like, we've said, oh, lads, you'll be fine. We couldn't even beat Pompey, but then they're like, they're 10 times better than us. So I think it's a weird team to sort of face at the minute, but I would definitely not be against that being the last game of Rooney's career. But we just need to win more than anything. We just keep, dropping points to these teams lower down the league, and we've got to play Luton and Pompey again in a couple of weeks. So if we can get 3 off Plymouth, it'll get me more encouraged, especially with Sunderland coming up on Saturday as well. It'll definitely be a nice little boost going into that game.
Yeah, Sunderland come visiting James this weekend. You've played Leeds and done really well against them. You played Burnley and did exceptionally well against them. Sheffield United and Middlesbrough. I know it was early in the season, Middlesbrough, but you've just not got over the line when you play in these teams, because I think you could beat Sunderland on Saturday. But it needs to be. We asked you this before, I know, but do you need to just be a bit braver in attack?
Yeah, I think we do. I think sometimes, again, that there can be this sort of overcautious approach with us. I think against Leeds, it was the first time we kind of took the handbrake off. If we can try and do that just a little bit more against these sides, I think in years gone by, I think we touched on it earlier, we've conceded 4 or 5 goals to teams that are pushing for the top 2 or 3 spots. I think if we can just be a bit braver, step on them, take the game to them, I think that we may see ourselves pick up more points against them. I think we were very unlucky not to get something out of the Leeds game, but I think if we can go for that aggressive approach again, I think we could very well beat them at home on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. They are wobbly away from home. That's for certain. Hugh, how many points do you expect to be sat here next week discussing out of these 2 games?
I'd take 4. I think we've got to be looking to beat Plymouth. I know they're a bit up and down. I mean, they beat Sunderland at home, but they've also been tonked quite a few times recently. So we've got to be looking for 3 there to be realistic, and then a point against Sunderland I'd probably take.
Okay. Cheers for that, fellas. We'll leave the game reviews aside for one bit. If you haven't yet subscribed to us, please do so. It's really, really great. These guys to be slogging their guts out each week discussing these games. So please share some love and drop us a comment and a like and a subscribe. That would mean the world to us. Rich, this week the footballing world's gone crazy for set pieces and discussions of set piece coaches. Me and you are a bit old school, so I don't mind discussing this with you. But is it just a little bit crazy that we now employ people in clubs to focus on what is, a small part of an otherwise simpler game? You just kick it in the box, don't you, and get your head on it? Have we gone mad?
Well, it used to be that kind of way, didn't it? You used to just pick the big man out, he scores. That's the general gist. If he gets it on target, you got to beat the keeper, put in the corner, that's the way. But no, these days, any small form of advantage you can get in your opposition, it's got to be taken. And, it's such small margins. We've seen in some of these games in the Championship this year, particularly, a lot of draws. So if you can get that against the run of play, particularly in the match, it really does make a hell of a difference. Some of the games I can say first goal has totally changed matches. So, yeah, she's done a great job for our goal with Grimesy on the weekend. So we've got to give him plaudits for that. And we'll take that any day of the week. But we're not one of the top sides for the set piece by any means.
You're definitely not. Should we have a look at where you are? Where do you reckon you are?
Bottom tilt, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the top of the table. And there you are in 17th. Derby and Millwall right at the top, and you are 17th. 4 goals from set pieces, 1 from a penalty, 12 from open play, 0 from counter-attacks, which we'll come on probably to discuss at another point. James, we've said before, you're a football coach. You coach under 18s level. Do you pay much attention when you're drilling your lads into set pieces?
I think it's really simple because we just, like you said, we just try to hit the big guy. I don't mind short corners in the professional game because the players are at a much better standard. But when my guys are taking short corners, I'm nearly pulling my hair out, if I'm being honest. It's a free cross, get it in the box.
Fair enough. Jimmy, why don't you score more set pieces?
Because we have no one tall is probably what I'd say. We're a very short team is what I've noticed in this year and last year as well. I mean, basically every time we ball in the box, if it doesn't go to Harry Darland's head, I pretty much got no hope it's going to go in. As you said, we have to be more inventive, and I think with the Grimes corner, we saw that obviously someone's doing work on it. I think it was Alan Sheehan, he said, which is great because we're not going to be winning these aerial battles when you play things, like Mill, and they've got Jake Cooper is like 6'6" in the box. None of our players are winning that battle in the box. So you've got to get a bit more creative. And as we saw with Grimes, his goal against Luton, we did, and just change it up a bit. But yeah, I think if it boiled down to it for me, it's just we have no one tall in the box to head the ball down.
All right. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And also, we're going to ask this team in a minute who was the best ever dead ball specialist to put on a Swansea shirt and get their views on that in a second. The FA Cup draw was made last week. We got your brief thoughts on it at the time, but Rich, let's get your views on it. Were you happy with how the draw came out?
Well, it had to be, didn't it? It's made for a cup tie, that one. And it could be a case of Russell's fighting for his job there. He's every week at the moment now with Southampton bottom. So that could be the final straw, which, it's not a laughing factor because he's a lovely guy. But it's one of those ones where I could see us going there and pulling off a result. They're not by no means the side they were last year to be afraid
Absolutely. of. Yeah, I think you could actually do them. Yeah, because they're not going to put a full strength side out, are they? They could care less about.
Depends really what we put out. I think is a key factor because we've got a pick the thin squad at the best of times.
Yeah, but you've got no reason to rest players, have we? Well, surely for that one. I mean, we're not there yet, but you want to see a full strength squad at St Mary's, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a good opportunity to progress. Obviously, the championship's a priority. It's got to be this year. I'm not obsessed with Russell like some of our fans are. I'll actually give him a shout out as well because when my broke last year, he sent him a private message, and I've got a lot of time for him. So I wouldn't necessarily want him to lose his job by us, but it would be quite poetic, wouldn't it, at the same time?
Okay. All right, then. Cheers for that. We're also talking, it's the season of goodwill. Who are the best fans that have visited the Swansea.com for you so far this season? Now, Swansea got a shout out when we asked Luton this question. They said Swansea are the best fans, not in terms of numbers, but in terms of effort to turn up at Kenilworth Road mid-storm. Jimmy, who do you give it to?
I mean, there hasn't been many, I wouldn't say many amazing ones this season so far, but I think probably Leeds by default have to be the ones. I think they're back there in Cardiff are the only ones who've sold it out, I think. I can't think of anyone else. I don't know if Pompey did. I think they were close to, but I think, for me, I'd probably go with Leeds. It's probably the boring answer and the answer that probably a lot of people are going to give, but you just got to give them their flowers, I suppose, travelling down in numbers to, it's a long way from Leeds. Fair play. I can't say we take the same amount that they bring to us. So, definitely Leeds for me.
I thought you were in danger of saying Cardiff there. That's going to get some comments, wasn't it, James? Although their limbs were good when that equaliser went in, you've got to give them that. James?
I'm probably going to say Portsmouth, again, mainly because of the way they celebrated their goals. I mean, the limbs when those two goals went in, it was like they were celebrating winning the FA Cup again. Not to lie, the cowbell did do my head in for most of the game, but the celebrations of those two goals, were phenomenal. Limbs, so Portsmouth for me.
Okay, Bitch.
Yeah, the cowbell. That was the bit I was going to get to, really, as such, they were just on it all the time. They never stopped. So, we give it to them. Newly promoted side, fighting all the way.
Brilliant. Hugh?
I wasn't that massively impressed by the Pompey lads, but I was down the other end of the stadium, to be fair, on that occasion, so I wasn't that close to them. I agree they celebrate their goals very well, but for the numbers they bought, I thought I would have heard more, but it was still a great effort. I think probably Leeds edged it, like James said, for me.
Okay, brilliant. Right, thank you very much. All very quickly before we go, we want one-word answers to this final question. Who's the best ever dead ball specialist to pull on a Swansea shirt? Jimmy?
I think it's a bit of a sore subject with what's happened with him, but probably Gylfi Sigurdsson. I think it has to be, unfortunately, as much as there's been some stories about him recently. But either him
allegedly.
or Jonathan de Guzman, or as a more safe answer.
Okay, thank you. Allegedly stories about him. Thank you. James?
Same answer. Gylfi Sigurdsson, absolutely incredible.
Rich?
You can't go against it. Brilliant player.
Yeah. Hugh?
The Iceman, all day, every day. When he scored that goal from 35 yards against Arsenal in the Premier League, that was some of the best limbs we've ever had at the Liberty. Unbelievable.
Brilliant. All right. Can you beat that? Drop us a comment below if you can. Thank you very much, you four. We'll see you, of course, next week when we've got lots, of course, to review then. Enjoy your week. And you could be kicking Ray Mooney out of a job. see you next week to review it all.